my friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Zita, and on my channel I do DIYs and makeovers on a budget. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at OakWell Home. So let's get started on today's DIYs and see what I've created. So my first DIY here, I have this set of angel wings that I'm going to be making over for a client. She didn't like that they were black, so she wanted them white, so that's what I'm going to do. So first what I'm going to do is clean them up with some soap and water, because these were pretty dusty and dirty. They were sitting in her car, and I thought I'd share my little fuzzball there, my little cutie, getting in the way of the camera, and he likes to stretch, and you'll see him coming up here again for another little stretch. He's so adorable. Once I have them all cleaned up, I am going to paint them with some homemade chalk paint that I created myself. So if you haven't made homemade chalk paint for yourself, I will leave the link in my description box if you'd like to give it a try. So first what I did was set them up on a couple of 2x4s just to raise them up off the ground so I could paint the sides very easily as well. So I gave these two wings 2 coats of paint, and I'm using a big brush here so I have more surface area to paint quicker. And I'm getting in all those nooks and crannies there of all that detail on the wings, all the feather detail. But aren't these wings beautiful? They're huge, by the way. So and I don't have a picture of what they look like on her wall because she hasn't picked them up yet, but I'm hoping in the future to get a picture of them on her wall. So after I applied the 2 coats of paint, I started with my distressing. So I just took a cotton cloth here, and I have some warm water in that bucket that you see to the side there. And then you see my beautiful dog come in here and keeping me company while I do my DIYs, which I love. So friends, this was quite the job to distress these huge wings. It took me like 2 hours on each of these wings to distress all that detail. As you can see the close up there, how much work that would be. And because this is a homemade chalk paint, it had some plaster in it, so it was I was doing some scrubbing here, and I went through 3 of these cloths because they started to get holes in them. But like I said, they turned out absolutely beautiful, like with all this distressing and being able to see all that feather detail. So once I had that done, after about 4 hours of work, I took some clear wax, and I just picked this up at my local home hardware store. I'm using a big wax brush again to give me a better surface area so I could get the waxing done quicker. And I'm getting the wax in all those nooks and crannies again, just like I did the chalk paint. And this is what they look like before, and this is how gorgeous they are now. Let me know in the comments, friends, what you think of these. Would you kept them black, or would you have painted them white to bring out all this beautiful detail? For my next DIY, I have these set of tiles here that I picked up from the Habitat for Humanity, and I already gave them a coat of white chalk paint, homemade chalk paint. So I am going to use the decoupage iron-on method with these coasters. So what I'm doing first is giving them each a coat of Mod Podge, and I'm going to let that Mod Podge dry overnight. And I gave them 1 coat, and then once the Mod Podge was dry the next day, I'm taking these beautiful bird napkins. They are gorgeous. And I picked these up from Ninny Napkins, friends. So if you want to get some of these napkins or look at some of the other napkins that Ninny's Napkins has, they have so many beautiful ones. I'll leave a 10% off coupon code in my description box. Continuing on, you want to get all the layers off your napkin, and take it from me. If you've been watching me for a while, you've heard me say this before, get all your layers off, because if you don't, it's gonna bubble up, and I know from experience. So I'm just cutting the napkin into 4s here, and as you can see, I found another layer of napkin on there. So this has, they usually are 2-ply or 3-ply. So this one was a 3-ply, and sometimes you have to cut them to, you know, see that extra layer on them. So just make sure you get all the layers off. So this is the next day, and I'm placed my napkin down. Now I'm using some parchment paper, and I'm using my hot iron here. It's on the cotton setting, and there is no water in this. It's just dry heat, so it's not steam. So make sure you don't have any water in your iron. So I'm just pressing down on that iron, and I think I went over it for like about a minute, and I went on along the sides as well. But see this method, how beautiful it is, how smooth your napkin comes out. So I really love this method, decoupage method, for a flat surface, because you get less wrinkles on your project. So now what I'm going to do, once I have all those napkins ironed on my tiles and they're all nice and smooth, I'm using this Polyvine varnish, and this is in the dead flat, so it's not going to be any sheen to it. And I did apply about 5 or 6 coats of this. So I applied my first coat, let it dry, and then applied my second, third, and so on. So I think I applied 5 or 6 coats, and what that's going to do, it's going to make them more durable and more like heat resistance to, like, you know, your hot coffee and hot tea and stuff like that. So if you'd like to try this Polyvine as well, Ninny's Napkins sells this product as well, and that is where I purchase it from. So go into my description box and get that 10% off coupon code for yourself. So I'm applying that Polyvine along all of the napkin, like along the sides as well. So once I had all my 5 or 6 coats on there and that was dry, I sanded off that excess napkin to make sure it had nice smooth edges. And then once I had that done, I thought they need a little bit more finishing along the edges, and I wanted them to look a little more vintage. So I took some of my antiquing wax and I put it on the sides there. If you don't want to do this portion, you don't have to. If you like the more cleaner look, you can keep it that way without the antiquing wax. But I put it along all the edges and kind of along like the corners and stuff like that, just to give it kind of like that worn vintage kind of vibe. So let me know, friends, what you think of these beauties once I finish this last step here, which is some grip sheet there that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. So I cut a square out and like measured it with my coaster, and then I'm going to use that first piece I cut out to cut out the rest of the pieces, just so they're all the same size. Then I'm going to take my hot glue gun and glue those pieces along each of the edges. Now you could use the dollar store stickers too, but you might need to place some hot glue on them, because I don't think they'll stick very well to these tiles. And you could also glue on cork on the back as well. That would look really nice as well. And I think you can pick up cork squares at the Dollar Tree. So let me know, friends, once you see the final product, what you think of these beauties and what you think of these beautiful bird napkins. So this is what they looked like before, and here they are now. Gorgeous. For my next DIY here, I have this shell that I've had in my stash for a long time. It's from my hometown visit that I made years ago, and I found this shell on the beach. So I'm going to decoupage it and make it into like a little trinket dish. So I'm going to use this gold and white tissue paper here, and I keep all my napkins and tissue in binders, and that way it's easier to look through and easier to find. So this was actually I think someone gave me a gift, and this beautiful tissue paper was in there, so I had it in my stash for a while, so it was quite wrinkly. So I took my iron and just ironed it out, just so it's going to be less wrinkly on my project. I just put some parchment paper on top of it and then use my iron on the cotton setting with a dry heat. No water in it, so no steam. So what I did first is gave this shell a coat of white chalk paint, or a couple coats, just to cover up the brown that was in the shell. And this is homemade chalk paint, again made by me, so if you'd like to try some, go in my description box for the video on that. And then I'm just drying it up really quick here with my hot heat gun here. My hot heat gun, of course it's going to be hot if it's a heat gun. I meant to say I'm going to dry it faster with my heat gun. So now I'm applying some decoupage. Oh gosh, I can't speak today, guys. I'm applying some Mod Podge. I'm sure you saw the Mod Podge there. So I'm applying some Mod Podge, or whatever decoupage medium you use. I'm applying that, and then I'm going to put my tissue paper down. And then I'm going to smooth it out there with a, I have this disposable shower cap that I picked up at one of the dollar stores, and the plastic on this is really soft, so I like using that because I find it's less room to rip your paper or your napkin. Then I'm just cutting off the excess here, and whatever else is left on there, I'm going to take my sanding block and my sanding paper there and get the rest of that excess napkin off there and just smooth out the edges. And I did have this just like this first, like without an edging around it. You'll see me put a gold edging around it, but I'm going to show you what it looks like without and with the gold edging. So what I also decided to do is to stamp something on here. So I'm stamping "You Are Beautiful." And these are little clickable stamps. They're awesome. So I'll put that in my description box if you'd like to order some of these on Amazon. They're awesome crafting stamps. But what happened here, because I put them all together like words, but because of the dip in this little shell, that didn't work out. So I had to apply the stamps individually to get them where I wanted to get them, because of, at the top it was kind of that little impression in the shell there, like a hole, so the stamp wouldn't go down there, even though I thought they would be flexible enough to do that, but they weren't. So now I'm applying a gold acrylic paint along the edges to finish this piece up, but I'm going to show you pictures with and without, and you let me know in the comments if you prefer the gold edging or if you would have left it just with the decoupage paper and the stamping on there. So this is it today, guys. I hope you enjoyed all of these projects. I really appreciate you all being here and spending some of your time with me. And I hope you enjoyed these projects and they gave you some inspiration. So don't forget to talk nice to yourself and others today. And I'm sending you love and blessings. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.